And I think you raised some good issues there about the whole recruitment process, because I think this is where most boards go wrong. And I really truly believe if boards did a better job recruiting, they would save at least 95% of their board issues would be solved if they did a better job of recruiting and did exactly as you described. You sit and have a conversation with the person and say, here's what we expect of you as a board member, but what do you expect of us as an organization? And find out, what you mentioned skills and talents. And I always like to use, I kind of coined a phrase that sometimes a square peg actually fits in a round hole. And we've always told, don't try to do that. But I, for example, was a banker for 11 years, and I served on a lot of boards before I entered the nonprofit profession. And every single time I served on the board, people put me automatically on the finance council. Yes. I worked for a bank. Well, guess what? I worked in the marketing department of the bank. I had no interest in doing budgets and reading financial statements and dealing with auditors. That just wasn't my expertise. And I'm not the only one. I have a friend who was an architect, and I was after I was in the nonprofit world, I was working for a museum, and I thought, gee, he'd be a really good person to get on our board. And so I was talking to him, had lunch with him one day, and I said, we're looking to build the board of the museum. Would you be interested in having me put your name into the governance committee to be considered for our board? And he said, I would love that, but I have one caveat. And I said, okay, what is it? And he said, I do not want to be on the facilities committee. He said, every board that I'm on asked me to be on the facilities committee. And he said, you know what, I'm really interested in the art collection. And he said, I would love to get involved in that. He said, I actually, as a child, studied art at the museum. And he said, I wasn't a very good artist. And one of my instructors said, you paint like an architect. And that's how he ended up becoming an architect. And so I gave his name to the board. I said, but he does not want to be on the facilities committee. I said, I think he might be really interested in serving on our collection management committee. And he did. He was brought on the board, chaired that committee, and he did give them some pro bono architectural advice as well, but he would have never came on that board if they had asked him right away to serve on the facility committee. So sometimes people are, even if they're good at something and they do it all day long, maybe they just want to do something different when they serve on a board, or maybe they have some skills and talents that aren't really obvious. And, finally, for myself, I was asked to serve on one board, and I said, I will, but I am not serving on the finance committee. If you have a fundraising marketing committee, I'll be happy to serve on that, because that's where my interest lies. Sure. And that's what I do at the bank. I do marketing. I don't do financial stuff. I did it for a number of years until I got out of it. So I think it's just, I always say, interview a board member as though you were interviewing a paid staff member, because you want to know what their skills and talents are and what their expectations are. And you want to let them know what the expectations of them are. And board members are the same way. They want the same things a staff member does. They want to know what they're expected to do, but they also maybe have expectations of the organization. And it's good to find that out up front. Don't wait till orientation and then ask. Yes. Give them job descriptions and everything else. Do that at recruitment.